You feeling in, always still feeling in. Ride the bitch. No.
All right, we're gonna let everybody get in.
Can you want just
Hey, what's up, friend?
What's good? What's good?
Hey, I'm doing well, doing well. How you been, man?
Good, man. Good, good.
It's good to
So
hear.
we're
It's good
gonna,
to hear.
yep. So we're gonna get started in a second. Make sure we got
Get
time
the
to.
folks in here.
Yeah.
Is that some Jay-Z in the back? What you
Of
looking for?
course, of course, of course. I
Cool.
got the whole starting it off, kicking it off.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
What you been listening to today?
Today, ironically, Christmas albums, man. So Jeremiah and Chance the Rapper released something.
Okay,
So
okay.
I checked that out. It was interesting. Yeah, you know. So
Gotta check out Chance. Chance, my guy.
yeah, for real, doing amazing things.
Yep. So once we so definitely want to get started, and I want to, of course, we're gonna, once we get into it and learn a little bit more about your business. Let me turn this down and learn a little bit about what InventYou does. What's the target? Talk a little bit about the marketing behind it. We want to make sure the purpose of Marketing Mondays is to give entrepreneurs a platform to talk about their business and just
Yep.
learn a little bit more about how they can help the people. So give me a little bit more about you and tell me about InventYou.
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Brandon Alexander. I go by the name Investor by Design. I kind of get into why I go by that name as well. I'm the founder CEO of InventYou, originally from Queens, New York, and pretty much I wanted InventYou to be a financial education company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my target market is really moms and their kids. So kind of my why, in terms of that specific demographic
Right.
is, obviously saw my mom growing up, single parent household. I wanted to do something to help. So in my mind, I kind of did everything that I could, right? At a young age, so whether that was like selling candy, selling
Right.
lanyards, all that extra stuff. And then pretty much I took that, my obsession with kind of like money and like finances and what was the lack that we had, and went and majored in accounting at UConn, and I'm
Okay.
currently doing my MBA in finance at St. John's right now, Tobin College. So that's kind of my why, why I'm so passionate about helping moms with money, right? So pretty much my story is, I helped my mom really get out of debt, start a business, and then invest, right? So kind of like the natural progression of things,
Right.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
So with that, what was your how did you actually when you started the business, what was your main goal?
Yeah, the main goal is really and it's the name InventYou. It came to me one night in a dream, and so I said this has to be the name, right? And pretty much what that was saying, who were you before they told you who you had to be, right? I want you to become who you want to be,
All right.
and most people are not doing the things that they love to do.
Right.
Because of financial situation, right? Most people hate their jobs. Most people are afraid to do that one thing that they're actually maybe good at, but for financial reasons, they have to sacrifice that and do what pays the bills immediately. And kind of the end goal is that your gift will make room for you ultimately, right?
Right.
So with that, you invent yourself, you reinvent the world, right? And that was the whole concept between InventYou. We just wanted people to unleash their inner entrepreneur, their inner freedom, live their best life, right? So how do you get people to do that? And so going back to moms, it's kind of like, all right, save. All right, now let's earn. Now let's invest so that you can live your best life and InventYou.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And so with investing for moms, right, for anyone. Yeah.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Gotcha. So investing is a scary thing for anybody, right? But for moms who
Yeah.
have, kids and things of that nature, right? So how do you get them over that first initial, journey of just coming in their mind, being ready to invest?
Right. Yeah. So, just disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor,
Right.
licensed to sell securities, anything like that. So for me, it's all about, education, right? I approach it from an educational standpoint, right? Once you're educated on a topic, those decisions and that process becomes a lot less scary to you.
Right.
So pretty much just starting off giving them education on what is a stock, what is a bond, what is a stock option, all these different, what's a dividend, things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just allowing them to familiarize themselves with the different products. And then from there, they say, hey, I know this company, right? So then it's like, all right, well, what companies are you using on a day-to-day basis? Did you know you can actually own stock in that, right?
Right.
And sometimes it's not even about stock. Sometimes it's about just, hey, I've worked, I have this money saved up already. How can I now kind of protect it in a sense, but make sure it grows, right? Because inflation occurs at 3% every year.
Right.
So pretty much, I always, and I don't want to recommend anything, but I provide the option of like ETFs, right? Or
Right.
even REITs, right? Those are a lot less risky than just investing in a one stock, right? Or
Right.
you have like the indexes, right? Like the S&P, things like that.
Right.
So that's really one of the best ways to go. And just educating moms on that route. So that way they have a little bit more sense of safety, but they
Mm-hmm.
also know that they can actually make cash flow from this, and that's kind of what I focus on, is really the cash flow of things. Like
Gotcha.
appreciation is cool, but we want to really just increase the velocity of that money.
Right.
So that's kind of the approach I take to that.
Yep, and that's one thing that's really big. Just getting over that hump of, we were always taught to just save, right? So
Yeah.
we were taught to put some money over to the side and just save. So but when you brought up a good point as far as just how inflation impacts that. So if you're only saving, then you're losing money because of the fact that the inflation is going to kill you, and you're not getting that 3% back on your savings account. So
Right.
just understanding the how investing puts you in that position to grow and appreciate your money. So I think that's big.
Exactly.
No. So are there any other asset classes that you talk to them about? And shout out to Earn Your Leisure. I got on the Assets Over Liability hoodie today. But are there any other asset classes that you kind of talk to them about?
Yeah, real estate. I'm a licensed real estate
Okay.
agent as well. So just the real estate process is something we talk about. Cryptocurrency is kind of big. I'm a certified Bitcoin professional. So in my last role, just to back up, I worked with kind of like the digital asset, in the digital asset space,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that was pretty much, in my previous accounting role, what we would do is kind of, go to these meetings, right? Because essentially, like Bitcoin and blockchain, all these things, it's just a decentralized ledger, right?
Right.
It's pretty much accounting. so in a sense, it's like that was one of the roles that I was in, and that's something that's new as well, the whole fintech space.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much, we touch on cryptocurrency, all of
Okay.
that. Like right now, some background on it. I've been commissioned to kind of coach this group of 12,000 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really, just being able to serve in that magnitude, and just really what it is sometimes, people have so many questions, and you're able to take their questions and say, okay, now this is how I can mold my content, right? This is
Right.
what the people want to know. So yeah, so we touch on everything, man. So, but it's primarily, stocks, real estate, and cryptocurrency, things like that. I mean, there's
Gotcha.
a ton more asset classes, but those are kind of right. We just want to kind of keep it really focused there. So yeah.
Okay. No, perfect. So as far as what advice would you give to moms out there as far as just getting started
On what aspect
of just investing, just starting out and getting over that hump to invest?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I would say the first thing is you want to save, right? You want to be secure a little bit, right? But save the right way. So then what you do is really you want to have that emergency fund, right? You always want to have your reserves, your cash reserves. Some people say, don't start investing really until you have about 6 to 12 months of expenses saved up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I would say kind of make sure that your debt is kind of paid off. Not necessarily all the way, but and that's an interesting standpoint too, because if your debt is, like you say, credit card debt, sometimes the APR on that's about 18 to
Right.
25%. So if you're not getting 18 to 25% on your stock or your dividend or in real estate, necessarily you might want to pay that off first, because it's
Right.
kind of like a backwards investment in a sense. Like you kind of get the same return if you were to invest that. So, but it's just that the debt is kind of you like have to pay that, right?
Right.
And
Right.
the interest is kind of guaranteed on that one. So
Right.
it's kind of like evaluating their circumstance. Like, hey, if you have a high interest debt right now, go ahead and pay that off first, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can use all that extra cash flow to really start investing. One thing that I love, when I first started investing, it was kind of using. I started off with Merrill Lynch, right?
Okay.
And then fast forward to today, it's like Robinhood is like the greatest thing on earth, right? So I would say that's pretty much it. But in terms of like opening a brokerage account, you can download the app. They'll ask you a few questions. It's really simple actually. It's kind of probably easier than opening a bank account, right? You can compare it similar to that. So that would be kind of like the process of getting started. Is really just make sure you save 6 to 12 months of expenses,
Right.
and then look at your debt, right? Look at your debt. Look at the APR on that. If you have a zero interest credit card balance or something like that, it's okay. But if your interest is high, you might want to use that extra cash flow that you would put to investing to kind of get that debt out the way. So now you have even more funds to invest in the future.
Gotcha. Gotcha. No, that's so what is your thoughts on the just with the economy and how it's going and the future with in 2021, how do you see that impacting how people are going to invest?
Yeah, I think people are. I mean, the market is doing its thing.
Right.
Tesla just got into the S&P 500, so that's really big. The market's at an all-time high right now. After it just was at one of its worst recessions, right? So it's just really interesting. I don't want to get into the economics of that, but I think
Right.
people are going to really start. A lot of people are really interested in investing right now, right? They see kind of how beneficial it could be. I
Hmm.
think we're in the middle of a huge wealth renaissance right now for the culture. So I think a lot more people are going to start investing. I think it's a lot less scary than it was, let's say 10, 20, or even like, definitely 50 years ago, right?
Right.
So I think it's gonna be a huge influx on people want the knowledge, people are seeking it out. So I mean I think a lot more people are gonna invest. In terms of what they're gonna invest to, that really depends on them.
Gotcha.
So, like I said, my thing is always cash flow. So I'm seeking out like dividends or, stocks that have either like REITs or like
Right.
stocks that have high dividend payouts
Okay.
if they're not a REIT. But I
I think
think
we
people
had,
to get started.
gotcha. I think we had one question. What kind of real estate are you in? Are you in residential, commercial? What are you doing with real estate?
Okay, yeah. So pretty much, oh man, how do I get it out now? I can't see. All right, there we go. All right, yeah. So in terms of like real estate, uh, pretty much residential real estate right
Okay.
now. Um, on the investing side and as an agent.
Okay.
Um, so pretty much that's kind of where we are right now. So as an agent, I do the entire gamut, right? One family all the way up to like 4 or 5 family, right?
Hmm.
Um, and then because as you touch 5 families, it's kind of commercial.
Right.
And then on the investing side, it's more so like fix, flip, renovate, and then refinance, right? Some call it the burst strategy. So that's on the investment side of things.
Right. Okay, cool, cool. So I do want to get a little bit more into the business model and
Okay.
how InventYou works. So tell me a little bit about the your product offerings, things of that nature. So anybody who's interested would be able to kind of work with you.
Oh yeah, definitely. So pretty much, our model is really set up in a sense where we have our InventYou Wealth Camp, and that's for moms, right? We have it actually for moms and for kids, because one thing we know is kind of like if you learn as a family, it becomes a game as opposed to something that's like burdensome or something that you have to take time away from your family to do. And so we want to create, we say we're building families and businesses with financial education. So pretty much what you would do, and it's a subscription program. So pretty much in our
Okay.
InventYou Wealth Camp, it's a Facebook community,
Okay.
and then there's a back end system with kind of all of our coursework, all of our products that way. And so it's pretty much a subscription program, right? You can either do like a yearly subscription or a monthly. And
Hmm.
what's really great and beneficial for the moms in there is it's not even just about finance, or it's not even just like me, right?
Right.
Or like my colleagues. It's more so people and moms are in there kind of networking, um, getting through situations together, right? Selling their services, advertising, things
Hmm.
like that. So it's an entire ecosystem of moms, really. And that was like the best part. Someone says, what's the cost? So it's about $29.97 for monthly. And then, yearly, it's kind of $297, I believe. So, it's a huge discount on kind of like the yearly subscription to the actual community. And, the community, yeah, you're learning finance, you're learning how to save, earn, and invest an extra $1,000 per month, right? Really, really at the minimum. But really, the bonus is kind of this entire ecosystem of moms being able to sell their services, network, talk to each other, things like that. So it's really, really been beneficial for a lot of people. And it's kind of it's way more than I ever envisioned it to be. My mom was like the first person to go through it, right?
Right.
I was like, hey, mom, this is what I learned, like this is what you need to be doing. And then that's when kind of like the light bulb went off. It was
Yep.
like, oh, wow. Like I didn't know this was not like an isolated case. So it's really impactful. So that's kind
Right.
of our business model there.
And I don't want to just scroll right past that one with marketing and anything with business. Your story is the biggest thing. When people can connect to your story, that's going to help them want to connect to your business. So tell me a little bit more in depth about tell me a little bit about your mom and what she did, her business, things of that nature. So just let me know a little bit of how you step by step how you helped her out.
Yeah. So pretty much with her debt, it was mostly like credit
Hmm.
card debt. She didn't have like a ton of student loan debt. Kind of like now what you're seeing with the kids is like we have a ton of student loan debt, but
Right.
we know to stay clear the credit card
Right.
debt at this point. So she had a lot of credit card debt, and it was pretty much just a snowball. just looking at her payments and saying, hey, hey, pay this off, right? You can pay the minimum on that for a little bit until you pay this one off. We started with like the lowest payment. So whichever one had the lowest balance, we attacked that one first. And then we
Right.
just going at it that way, right? I mean, there's multiple ways to do it. That was kind of what worked.
Mm-hmm.
And so once pretty much she got over the debt, it was like, all right, well, you have a whole house, Airbnb is a thing, right? Renting it out is a thing. I was really big into like house hacking and things like that. So in my mind, I was like, hey, like I was all about the cash flow. So it was pretty much like, hey, renovate the basement, renovate this room, that room, and now let's launch the Airbnb. Let's put everything out that way.
That's
And
smart.
so, and the really cool part is kind of when I say InventYou is, she told me a story. She said, when I was younger, I wanted to, buy and sell homes and rent them out and things like that. She never had to do that. So it's really cool that she's finally, able to do that. And like I said, she invented herself now and reinvented herself at that. And then pretty much, so that's kind of her business that's going on right there.
No, that's dope. That's dope. Because the biggest thing that I took away from that is the fact that you empowered her, right? So you took her debt, you helped her get her debt away, and then you empowered her to make her own money and to empower herself to, like you just said, invent the new hers, because that was a dream of hers that she is now able to fulfill. So that's big. It's big.
For sure.
Yeah. So do you have any other like success stories from your InventYou camp?
Yeah, so just general stats. Like I said, everyone's in there just on an ecosystem level. Just hey, you went to this school. I'm in New York too.
Gotcha.
It's really cool. But like holistically, like our members have saved, earned, or invested collectively over $100,000 at this point. Like I said, we've coached a community of 12,000 people so far. What else? We've been able to do a song with Ash Cash, so free enterprise. You guys can stream that. There's actually a link in the bio to that too.
Okay.
Streaming everywhere. But that and free enterprise, that song, like I said, it's about building families with financial education, right? So that song is pretty much for the kids. It's kind of like talking about the free enterprise system and this free market, the business side of things, right? So I kind of break down one, how to file like your personal taxes with a 1040. Then I go into the benefits of like the LLC and tax breaks you get in there. Then I talk about real estate as well. But it's done in the way that kids will be able to understand. And so that's the 360 look at it, right? But those are some basic stats. Like I said, we're growing every day.
Gotcha. And so that is something that you kind of do for the moms as well. So actually talking to the kids about investing and helping them understand, because I have 3 kids of my own, so I kind of understand that, right? So one of the things that I do is I talk to my kids about investing, and we actually break it down to the simplest form. So we learn those business terms, and we're not. It's really big, because if you teach them early, it helps with their growing up. So the other thing is, when you're talking about some of the things that you're doing as a family, it becomes second nature for them to understand why you're doing some of the things that you're doing. I helped them. The first thing I taught them was the difference between an asset and a liability, right? I taught them in the basic form. An asset is something that makes you money, and a liability is something that costs you money, right? So just if they can understand that simple concept, and then they understand when we're spending money here, that are we spending this money on an asset, or are we spending this money on a liability? There's nothing wrong with at times, and especially with it being around the Christmas time, there's nothing wrong with buying some liabilities for their kids, right? They're not already adults, let them be kids. But help them understand that, okay, I need to invest in myself. I need to invest so when I'm growing up, I know what those assets are and how and how my parents are thinking and how they're trying to move. So
Yeah.
it becomes second nature when they become adults.
Second nature. And you know, in terms of like just being wealthy and right, because that's the goal. And most of our parents just, you know, they're just able to get started, right? 20,
Right.
40, 60 years ago, we were going through a ton of different things,
Right.
lining, so many things, right? Like in terms of like investing in the stock market, we had to call up a stockbroker, like
Right. Right.
you know,
Right.
we were like X'd out of so many things. But I
Right.
love what you said about, you know, having the kids really understand what's going on. You know, there's a statistic that says uh, with wealthy folks, right? Like the money is usually gone by the second or third generation because they have no idea how to manage it. They don't even
Right.
have the same drive
Right.
of how to like manage the business or the same desire, right? So that money is usually gone in 2 to 3 generations.
Right.
So it's all about, you know, prioritizing the family, you know, family LLCs, family class sessions, all of that, man. It's all about prioritizing the family, man. And
For
shout out to
sure.
you. You got 3 kids. Like, you know, one thing is like the 529 plan.
Yep.
I'm sure you heard of it. And my thing is like, why didn't anybody, like, no one had a 529 plan growing up.
Yep.
And the amount of oh, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I think about this all the time. The what just came to your head. Like every time I find out new information, I'm like, well, why didn't we know this growing up? Like, why wasn't this taught to us? Not even, I know a lot of people are on like, hey, why wasn't this taught to us in the schools? But why wasn't this information second nature to our people, right? So growing up, and even if you think like you know, I was talking to you about rap earlier, like it's not second nature in our culture, because the things that we listen to, the things that we watch wasn't putting that into our subconscious. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what we know is what we know. What we're around is what we're gonna be. So that's a big thing, just in the sense of, like you just said, like we have to change then the environment and the things that we talk about to each other, right? So these conversations that we're having, this ecosystem that you're putting together for moms, where it becomes second nature for them to learn about investing and learn about how to empower themselves and put themselves on. So I think that's big.
Yeah, man, it's super big. Like, and I think, you know, moving forward, like I said, I think everyone is so awakened. You know, especially millennials. Like, we went through 2 recessions already. You
Right,
know,
right,
and,
right.
and so the second time around, I think we were waiting for this one. Like, everyone
Yeah.
had their money saved up.
Right.
Everyone jumped in the stock market. You know, real estate is a little bit more stable, but same thing applies, right? I think we're a lot smarter on the second go around. But it's like, why didn't we know about that, right? And we give kids all these gifts,
Right.
and you know, things that you got to buy a new one next year, right? The video games, everything like that.
Yep.
Like you said, your kids, but it's like the family contributes to that too. So it's kind of like, what if the family was just contributing to the 529 plan on the low, right? So
Yep.
things
Yep.
like that.
One thing I did for my kids last year, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the app called Stockpile. So Stockpile, so I got them Stockpile, and I'll put that link in my bio or whatever. But it allowed them to see what we were investing in, and I had an auto invest monthly for them, and they would be able to go in and we can talk about different, whether it be Disney, whether it be Amazon, Google, and I talked about things that they knew. We have Googles all through our home, so it was easy for them to understand. Oh, I can invest in Google. Oh, Disney had a picture of Mickey Mouse on there. Oh, I can invest in Mickey Mouse, or Barbie with Mattel, things of that nature. So it just making it simple and easy for them to understand is big. So I think with your business, the fact that you focus on the mom and the kid is very big, because it allows you to because that's their biggest burden. Shout out to my wife, my biggest help, my partner. So she, I understand what these women are going through, and how important it is for them to be able to connect with the conversations that they're having with their children. So I think that's big, that the community is big for support, because moms need support, period. So, and I think that's it's commendable that this is your project and you know how you're going about it.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and we're coming up at the end, but I do have a couple. I know we've been talking investing in business, but I do have a couple of branding questions. So, two questions. So, who's your favorite artist? Is the first one. And why?
Okay, artist. Damn. So for me, I said in the song "Free Enterprise." I said all in the name of artwork in my vestibule, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, my favorite artist is really anything abstract. So like a Picasso.
Mm-hmm.
Picasso is really good. Just the way my mind works. It's like a
Gotcha.
scatter plot, and then I draw the line in the middle and figure
Gotcha.
out what it means, right?
Yep.
In terms of like rap, I would say Jay-Z.
Okay.
Just being from New York, you know, just I admire his business moves and he kind of grew on me because as a kid, it was like, oh, this sounds good. This is like, you know, it sounds good. Everybody's playing it. But then just watching his moves, whether it's business or relationships, friendships, things like that, it was real admirable, you know.
Right.
And yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Gotcha. And my second one is reading. As far as like, do you have any book recommendations?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I would say go grab and let me kind of be book recommendations. So Tonya Rapley has a book out.
Okay.
The name is slipping me, but just go ahead and Google it.
Okay.
She has a book. I think it's the money expert or the millennial something
Okay.
about money. But Tonya Rapley has a book out. And I'll kind of put her name in the chat right here too. So she has a book.
Get that to the people.
Yeah, she has a book out.
Tony Rapley.
So she has a book out. Let me look on my bookshelf, man. I have this huge bookshelf here. Who else's book is out? So Bitcoin and Black America by Isaiah Jacobs. So that's another book I would recommend. Let's see. I think Ray Dalio's book, Principles.
That's one of my favorite books.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then in terms of like strategy, I would you know, there's another book on kind of just how to win friends and influence people also, right?
I like that one.
That one has opened many doors. And then the classic, kind of like the Go Giver. So that's definitely one up there. Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice.
Okay.
Dennis Kimbrough. So really, I think those books would be a good basis. Kind of whether you're into like the real estate, the stocks, just personal finance in general. You know, or really just, you know, the whole concept of InventYou, that you can reinvent yourself, right? Think and Grow Rich. You know, the world is yours. So
perfect, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I'd love to have you back in the future. So Brandon, thanks. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, thanks, Fred. I appreciate you.
All right, and so we'll be doing this, you know, on Mondays, Marketing Mondays. We'll be bringing you different businesses, different entrepreneurs, and talking to you about their business, how they can market their business, and just having different conversations and opening it up to you guys and helping you win together. So thanks, Brandon. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, peace.
All right.